I want to talk about the Bears because you coach there and you're on the air in Chicago. So they have a new GM and a new coach, and that GM didn't draft Justin Fields, and that coach is a defensive coach. And Fields, I think, is a big talent, but I do think he can be mistake prone. And as a defensive coach, you guys see the world through a different prism. And I'm interested, if you inherited a quarterback, didn't draft him, he's not your guy, right? It's much easier to come in and go, by Thanksgiving, this ain't working, say to the owner. Do you think it hurts Justin Fields a little bit that this isn't the group that brought him in?
I really appreciate your comment, Colin, of saying I see it through a different prism rather than saying you defensive coaches are boring, No, seriously. But I'll tell you what's going on right here. And, they're changing the defense, first of all. We'll get to Justin Fields. But for our viewers, our listeners, they're going from a traditional 3-4 to a 4-3. And Matt Eberflus, the head coach, he has that Tampa Bay, actually what we did at the Cowboys and did at the Dolphins, a 4-3 mentality. So they're going to juggle it around. And everybody's saying, the Bears are coming out and saying, we're not rebuilding, and that's cliche. Everyone wants to say we're just reloading. Barry Switzer could say that at Oklahoma, reloading, and it worked. But they're rebuilding. And I think it's a great decision by the general manager, Ryan Poles, the new general manager of the Bears, because the offense is young. Offensive line, quarterback, running back, receiver. And if they do take the steps that everybody hopes to in Chicago, and they kept Khalil Mack, and they kept Akeem Hicks, and they kept Danny Trevathan, all these older players, because of contracts, injuries, whatever, they would have been getting rid of them 2 years ago. And then the defense would have been trying to catch up with the offense. Right now, this football team is all on the same plane. And so if it works, it's really going to work big. So, and I know this for a fact, talking to some of the offensive coaches up there, it's going to be an offensive-friendly offense. I mean, they're going to run the ball and they're going to give Justin Fields the best chance to develop one and to be successful. So we're all going to find out here about week 8 if he's the guy or not.
I hope he is. Yeah. Well, I mean, when the Bears are good, it's better for Fox. It's better for the league, right?
Right.
Ben Lieber's a Minnesota Viking linebacker, a former Viking linebacker, and he came out and said it was no secret that Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins, didn't like each other a ton. So I had heard after last year that it was a pretty chilly relationship. The Vikings lost more close games than any team in the NFL. Their defense was pretty good, but they lost a couple of overtime games. And, Kirk, as much as his data, his stats feel like he's a Pro Bowler, he can shrink in big spots. So I get it. But we are seeing an interesting trend. Belichick and Brady at the end wasn't great. Pete and Russ at the end wasn't great. Zimmer and Cousins wasn't great. You don't hear as many of those stories with offensive. Brian Flores and Tua was reportedly brutal. Do you think defensive coaches, and I think Zimmer's a hell of a coach. I really think Mike was a good coach. But Dave, the world's changed. These quarterbacks now have 10,000 snaps by the time they're sophomores in high school. Do you think the world's changed a little bit? They make more money. They come in ready to play, and that you have to coach them a little differently.
Well, I don't know. Yes. I mean, I hear what you're saying. But again, as a defensive coach, I think it all comes down to the offense that you run. I mean, the offense that they look at Kirk, and I don't know Kirk Cousins that well. I was at a banquet with him once. Look at his numbers, everybody, from when he's been at Minnesota. His completion percentage is almost 70%. He's 2 to 3 touchdowns, most of the time 3 to 4 to interceptions. I mean, his quarterback rating for the 4 years in Minnesota has been over 100%. But their philosophy on offense was Dalvin Cook, run the ball, play defense, and the quarterback make plays. So I'm kind of caught in the middle on this thing. I mean, I would like to defend Mike Zimmer, but I was in the same situation with Ricky Williams. I had Jay Fiedler, an Ivy League kid at quarterback, and I had the top 5 defense in the NFL and a Pro Bowl kicker, Linda Murray, and we couldn't win a Super Bowl.
Right.
You know, it's a quarterback-driven league. Quarterback gets the money, quarterback gets the credit, he gets the criticism. I don't know. When things go bad, I just think it's an easy way out for the coach, anybody, to say, you know, if we made more plays at the quarterback position. But I'm not buying that. I think the philosophy that they have at Minnesota when Mike Zimmer was there was run the ball and play defense. And that's the role of the quarterback. So, you know, if it changes now, you know, we'll see. We'll see.
As a Pittsburgh guy, I'm not a huge Kenny Pickett guy. I think I was initially, and then in college, the more I watched him, I don't see a ton of ceiling. He felt like a second or a third round pick. And in fact, I had a GM in the league tell me, a really good GM tell me, we have him graded as a middle third round pick, but the Steelers go ahead anyway. So you've always been a bigger Trubisky fan than I am, but I will say this. I do think Mitch Trubisky as a bridge quarterback is a damn good quarterback. He and Garoppolo are great bridge quarterbacks. You can win a lot of games with him. I don't want to build around him. What if Pickett comes in and they're tied? Who do you go with?
They're going to go with Pickett. I mean, I'm convinced of that. I mean, and I think that as close as I am to the Pitt program, I would say that they practice on the same fields, guys. I mean, for our viewers, we have 4 fields there. They walk in the same door. Pitt goes to the right, Steelers go to the left. Their offices are separated, their weight rooms, all the facilities are separated. You go out to the practice fields. The first 2 fields are the Steelers. The second 2 fields are Pitt. And my point is, they eat right there. My point is that nobody knows more about Kenny Pickett. Give Kevin Colbert, the general manager of the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin, the head coach, a little bit of credit. I think they know more than any of us. And for them to like him without a doubt in their minds, and I talked to a lot of people in Pittsburgh, there was no question. They didn't think that he would be there. That's the other side of this coin. You're saying to a GM thought he'd go in the 3rd round. People in Pittsburgh tell me they thought that he would be gone before they picked 20th or whatever it was. And they were going to take another quarterback, a young one. So they were excited to get him.
Are you worried at all that when they drafted him, Trubisky probably comes in, they're not paying him much, but he thinks he's a starter. What if Trubisky is better, not significantly, but he's a little better understanding the system? Do you still go with Pickett? What's the line on that?
No, I think that Mike Tomlin's going to go with whoever can win, and I don't think he would have a problem at all slow playing Pickett if there's a difference. And I've always said this, Colin, 17 years as a head coach, the players are watching the same tape that you are. Okay. No, really, as a head coach. So you might think that we're going to trick these guys and we're going to start this guy or play this guy, but really on the tape, player B is a lot better and he's making more plays and completing more passes and throwing less interceptions. The players are watching the same tape. So Mike Tomlin's not going to fall into that trap. He's going to play the best guy.
Hi, everybody. Time once again to tell you about Manscaped.com. Manscaped has spent 2 years trying to create the most comfortable briefs possible. Sleek, soft, flexible. The brand new Boxers 2.0 from Manscaped. Manscaped, the global leaders in below the waist grooming. Now, you know about their 4th generation trimmer. Cutting edge ceramic blades reduce grooming accidents thanks to the advanced skin safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof. Yes, Manscaped made it waterproof. 400K LED spotlight for an even more precise shave. So here's our deal at Manscaped, okay? You see this on our YouTube page all the time. Here's the deal. 20% off at manscaped.com, code Colin, and free shipping. 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com. The leaders in below the waist grooming, from the Lawnmower 4.0 to the new Boxer Briefs 2.0, all of it at manscaped.com, code Colin. Check it out. All right, let's go. When I bring you on, I like to talk Bears, Steelers, Dolphins, always. So my prediction on Tua is this. I really like their skill people. Waddle, Cedric, Wilson. I think it's a terrific 3. Mike Gesicki, Tyreek Hill. very capable backs. Again, nice. I think they're okay on the offensive line, not great. But they bring in Kyle Shanahan's offense. It's always been a good offense for a quarterback. It's not quarterback reliant. It's quarterback friendly.
Yep.
Tua, I think his strength, accurate thrower. It's like Jimmy G. There's a ceiling, but Jimmy gets the ball out and he gets it to guys, run after catch. Well, shit, that is Tyreek Hill. I think he led the NFL in, like, maybe I'm wrong on this, I read it like bubbles. 75% of his catches were not deep. They're bubble screens. They're get the ball out to him quick. Tua can absolutely activate that. I think the issue is going to be, I think Tua is going to be pretty good. I went and looked at his numbers from last year, and I said, if they improve 15%, the dilemma is going to be, oh, crap. Do we have to pay him knowing he's in the same division with Josh Allen? Because I think his number, I think he's going to complete about 66%. He's going to have a 94 passer rating, a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. He's not Mahomes. He's not Herbert. He's not Burrow. He's not.
Right.
So I think what you're going to get is this quarterback system, Dave. It works. Christ, Garoppolo's making 27 large. It works. You can win a lot of games in this thing.
No question. Two thoughts come to mind with your comment, your question there. Number one, the first time, if you talk to anybody in the NFL and you say Shanahan, what's the first thought that comes to mind? One of the best game plan run schemer there is in the league.
Yep.
And so that's what you got to expect with the Dolphins. So their run game, they were 28th, I may be wrong on this, 27th, 28th, or 29th in the league rushing the football last year. They weren't very good at all. They didn't really give Tua the chance that they had. And you're right, Tyreek Hill, I'm part of a group of 10, 15 coaches called the 33rd team. Okay. And we have Zooms and meetings, and we just talk ball, and we do some things. They're going to have something new going on with our group this fall. But we were talking and watching tape on Tyreek Hill. And you're exactly right. He led the NFL in yards after catch. And so the point is that fits right in. Get the ball out quick and let him run. I mean, it sounds too simple for some of these geniuses. But I'll tell you what, if you come out of the Shanahan system, and I was coaching the Dolphins and I was coaching the Bears when his dad, was coaching he was offense coordinator of the 49ers, and then he was the coach at Denver. And so I know the system, and he's doing exactly what his dad did from the standpoint of philosophy-wise, and it's working.
I think he's going to be a little bit like a left-handed Jimmy G. He'll get banged up. You can see the ceiling, but he'll get rid of the ball quick. He'll deliver it accurately. And in the end, the coaches will win a lot of games. You're going to win 10. I think they're going to be a 10-win team. I think Miami is a playoff team.
You can't lose sight of this. When he was struggling early, every week we were all talking about it on all the shows. Deshaun Watson going to the Dolphins. Deshaun Watson being traded to the Dolphins. And Tua's playing horrible. All of a sudden, halfway through, the general manager down there says, that's enough. Enough talk about this. This is our guy. We're out of the Watson stakes. We're not interested anymore. And it's Tua. And his numbers, his performance, it was like night and day.
Yes.
So I think that now you get an offensive coach. Okay. It's the first time that he's ever had a head coach that's the offensive coach. Nick Saban, right? Alabama.
I think his high school coach was a defensive coach. I could be wrong. I think he was.
Colin, you got me again. What can I say? You just
I think you're right. I think it's high school, Saban, Flores. I think they all were defensive coaches.
So now you got the head coach putting his arm around him in the meetings, giving him some loving. The guy, I think that could accelerate his performance twofold, really. I really do, just because of the environment and the atmosphere that he's going to be in now as compared to the past.
And the other, the one thing I like about Tua, when he's getting all this crap, Dave, he's really good at the microphone. Yep. He handles it. He laughs at it. He rolls his eyes at it. Baker could get real snarky, real defensive. And Tua's like, it's all good. You know that. The last thing you want is you have to answer a question because your quarterback the day before got in an argument with the media.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. No question. And I think, Tua's the type of quarterback that you hire him in any profession, he's going to make your team or your business better. He's got that type of charisma, and I think he's got that type of mentality.
So I'll throw this at you. Dave, you know this really well because you're one of the few guys who won in the pros and college. There's not many guys who did it. Jimmy, Pete Carroll, there's not. You're on a short list. There are certain guys, and they don't always have to be great players, but they're guys, and the players love them. They're great locker room guys. This is what I've said about Jimmy G. He's a great looking guy. He's a nice guy, impossible to hate. And I think Brady sensed that in New England. Said, get this guy out of here. Like, guys love Jimmy G.
Right.
And so, this whole Trey Lance circus, he's been great. He's been a coach's dream. So my takeaway is you can't keep Jimmy G in that locker room and then demand that Trey Lance own the locker room. Jimmy's just one of those guys. You want to go hang out with him and have a beer and watch if there was a guy in the locker room you want to go out and have a steak dinner with, it's Jimmy G. And that's Trey Lance is a great kid. And my takeaway is you got to get him out of the locker room. If you want Trey to have a shot at owning that damn locker room, you can't have Jimmy G in the quarterback room.
Well, when my tenure ended at the Dolphins, it was the year that Ricky Williams took a sabbatical, or whatever we want to call it. And we were hit with a couple of hurricanes, and we started the season off bad. Okay. They were using our facility as a hurricane shelter. Okay. Put that aside. So we start off bad. And I remember that Wayne Huizenga, God bless his soul, he was the owner of the Dolphins. He came in and said, I want to play some of these younger players. And we had won 10 games a year before. And we were off to a 1-5 start or whatever it was. And I said, Wayne, Jay Fiedler, if we start another quarterback other than Jay Fiedler, we will lose this locker room. Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Patrick Surtain, these guys believe in Jay Fiedler. So I can relate to your story. And as long as Jay was on that team and I was the head coach, Jay had to be the guy. And maybe he wasn't as talented as the backup guy, but from a mentality standpoint and a belief standpoint, and there's nobody that has more influence on a team than the quarterback. When he comes into the huddle and in a critical situation and he's looking everybody in the eye, he's the only guy talking. And when he makes a statement and calls a play and says something at the end about, we got this, we can do this, that makes the difference in the world. That's Tom Brady. That's Tom Brady at halftime when their 28 point comeback against the Atlanta Falcons when you and I were working the show in Houston, the Super Bowl. Tom Brady was the guy that got the offense. I talked to Dion Lewis, their running back coach, and Tom was the guy that got that offense together and said, believe in me, we're going to do this thing. Quarterback's the guy.
Yeah, no, there really is. You know this. When you recruited quarterbacks, like my thing with Justin Fields is I know he's big enough, fast enough, talented enough, and has the arm. My question is he the guy? Is he a guy that guys rally around? Do you think he is?
Well, I do hope so. I know I'm sounding like I'm on the fence a little bit, but probably because I am a little bit. I want to see him this year. I think that this year's offense is going to give him the best chance. And I've always evaluated NFL quarterbacks like this. Number one, when they're down 10 points with 6 minutes to go in the game, can they bring their team back and score twice and win the game? That usually separates quarterback. When you look at the Bradings, the Mannings, the Marinos, all those guys, the great ones can do that. The ones that can't bring their team back but are really good players, unfortunately, they don't fall into that category. In my mind, that's my personal opinion.